आबाद रहे वो गाँव मेरा जहाँ लौट के वापस जा न सका। ओ वतना बे मेरे वतना बे तेरा मेरा प्यार निराला था, कुर्बान हुआ तेरी अस्मत पे मैं कितना नसीबों वाला था। तेरी मिट्टी में मिल जावा गुल बन के मैं खिल जावा, तेरी नदियों में बह जावा तेरे खेतों में लहरावा, इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू।
Now I am requesting Shubhendu Maji, faculty member of the Department of Anthropology, to carry forward this session. Thank you, Shubhendu. Shubhendu, you are not audible.
Now I am audible. Yeah. Thank you, Kostov, for giving me the screen over here. It's not a floor, it's a virtual platform, so it's a screen. Thank you for sharing the screen. So now I would like to welcome Professor Sujato Bhadra. Professor Sujato Bhadra is basically our sir is basically a history teacher. He was associated with Shippu Dinobandhu institutions, undergraduate college under University of Calcutta. Now he is a guest faculty in the department of Anthropology in the course of human rights, postgraduate course of human rights. It is my pleasure to introduce you, sir. Apart from any kind of formal introduction, as we discussed earlier, without wasting any more time, I would like to welcome you here to start your speech, as we know that you are one of the most important and significant and very dynamic phase in our department or in any academia as well as in any activist platform. Thank you for being here, and please welcome, sir. The screen is yours. Thanks.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this study circle. I will emphasize not on the economic aspects of the law that has been quite dealt with by Professor Day and also Professor Manik. I will take up the issues of the movement and the responses by the government and the contentious issues involved in the movement. Number one, whether the central government has got any constitutional jurisdiction to enact essential laws relating to agriculture, which is exclusively a part of the state subject under Article 246 of Constitution of India. Government used this of 33 by saying it's a part of trade and commerce. So reinterpretation of the Constitution by the central government has raised number of issues and created tension between the federal structure of the entire nation. Surprisingly, you must be noting that in 2019 November, Finance Commission published a report saying that all states should be given incentive in terms of monetary, in terms of other logistics, to have a production boom in agriculture and to protect the rights of the agriculture, farmers. In 2020, in the budget statement, Finance Minister said the same thing, to give protection and incentive to farmers under state direction, under state intervention. The question of central law did not arise at that point of time. Somehow in June 2020, central government changed its previous position, few months back previous position, and almost imposed central laws on the farmers. Why? There is no answer to that. Why government changed the stand all of a sudden? While saying that state is responsible for incentive and the central government will cooperate with the state, all of a sudden, central government took the entire initiative, imposed farmer laws on farming community, as if the patriarchal, they know they can do everything good for the farmer. Farmers do not know anything about their welfare. Reason is two, as far as I gather. One is, just 2 months back, USA lodged complaint against India in WTO, referring to agreement on agriculture issue and saying that minimum support price of wheat and paddy is much more, should be reduced. You will be astonished to find what they're demanding USA 2 months ago in a complaint to WTO, that at present, the MCP for rice, 1,348, for wheat, 1,386. USA saying the MCP should be for 235 and 354 rupees only, respectively. And they are referring to the clause, why they want to dismantle mandis, they want to deregulate the markets, they want to enter Indian market, to send their excessive production to Indian market, thereby destroying the life and livelihood of farmers of India. We have experiences. In 1990s, same thing happened in Philippines, same thing happened in Burdwan, where farmers, community farmers, completely destroyed, and they were in peril. The same thing going to happen. And as well as local, as everybody says, local corporate elites are entering the market, capture the market. So government intervention, government protection is required. Government is saying the APMC will exist along with open market. So you have a contact farming system now, if it is implemented at all. Contact farming means once I am in contact with the businessman, I cannot sell my produce at gate in APMC. I cannot. They will take me to the court. Simply I was in contact for 3 years, I cannot sell. If it is much more higher price, if available, even in MCP. Reliance just last week had a deal in Karnataka where they had given 82 rupees more than government MCP. It appears that they are giving more, but not that. They will take commission out of that 1.5%, and entire sending of produce will be charged by Reliance on the farmers. So ultimately, they will incur losses. MPS is connected don't see in isolation. MPS, as farmers are saying, they are sending material to us. The MPS is connected with procurement system and timely purchase. There is a scholar, Gauranga Sahai, of Tata Institute, made a research work. The delay of purchasing by the government even will entirely destroy the entire produce. They have to feed this to the animals. They can't sell thereafter. So they require a protection. Christopher Jafflot wrote an article, brilliant article in Indian Express, that in USA and in Europe, even in the advanced countries, farmers are given huge subsidies, huge cash handouts. India cannot afford to that to 120 million. Then half of the budget will be given for subsidy. That cannot be done. But if NCP is legalized, if the MSP is guaranteed, then at a standard is legalized, then private player or government mandates can break the law, cannot break the law, and they will survive. What is the demand for the reasonable price? Farmers are saying two. One, cost of the production should be covered. Two, a modest life for the farmers. Once you destroy this, in Punjab, in everywhere, keeping in the mind the agrarian crisis, keeping in the mind the debt, keeping in the mind the suicide of the farmers over the decades. In Punjab, in one village, 57 widows because of the farmer suicide. So you require a protection in our type of economy. You cannot just take the Western model and plant it on Indian soil. Now there is a government response. I must say, it's a double standard. Sorry to say. There is a RTI, right to information. What there is a consultation process. Supreme Court also raised these issues. Last 2 days, Supreme Court said, what is the consultation process? Government claiming that there was a consultation process before the framing and passing of the laws. Government saying that there were lakhs and lakhs farmers were consulted on webinar said by Ravi Prasad, Law Minister. RTI says, Agriculture Department is saying, inquiry to RTI, no record is in existence. What a government petition in the Supreme Court regarding the consultation process is absolutely different logic. The last governments after government had been negotiating, had been deliberations, and also Gulati also said on the TV same thing. Supreme Court saying to forget about past government. What consultation you have done before the passing of the law? Absolutely no answer to that. Government consistently attacking the movement by stamping them out as Khalistanis, thereafter Maoist. Again, today Supreme Court, they said the entire movement had been hijacked by Khalistanis as IB reports. Police fabricate the reports, submit the reports, stamp out the movement, but the very essence of the movement is related to right to life and livelihood. I would like to point out another point, which is equally important, that what should be the unintended consequences of that. Professor Bagchi in the beginning raised the issue, is it a Haryana-Punjab issue? I do contest that point. It is beyond Haryana and Punjab issues. It's a fight between democracy and corporate regulated economy. The laws, mainly for corporatization, lead to hunger, lead to malnutrition further. Already we are in the sloping in hunger index, and that will lead further to that. So I would say that entire my standpoint is like this. This struggle of the farmers is not a farmers only. Struggle not only for Punjab and Haryana. It has gone beyond this. What do we want? Community agriculture or corporate-led agriculture? The farmers are directly confronting the corporate. I am with the farmers. The process in defense of democracy. And we are reclaiming the republic. There is a very, very famous book written by Susan George, who wrote the first book, which is sensational seminal work, How the Other Half Dies. She wrote very recently another book, equally illuminating, Shadow Sovereigns, means the corporate run the government. Government is a face, behind that corporate decides. And if we believe in democracy, we the people will their own fate. People have a right to have a choice what kind of agriculture they are going to have, what kind of condition they are going to accept. The law must be repealed. In a sense, if a government is ready to 80% amendment, 90% amendment, then what is the use of having this law? If you buy a car, before you coming out of a showroom, if you find a car are faulty in any way, this way or that way, brake are not working properly, light are not working properly, if they repair the car, mechanic repaired the car, are you going to take that car? No. You are going to have a new car. If the law is faulty, if there is no consultation, after the movement government succumbed to discussion of 8 round, agreeing to the amendment, but if 80% amendment are demanded, government agreed to that, then what is the use of that law? Law should be thrown to dustbin. New discussion, new areas, federal structure should be restored, state opinion should be restored. Number of states came up in rebellion, passed the state laws, opposing the central laws. The entire tension has been created. To reduce the tension, government must give a definitive confidence building measure. There is a trust deficit between the farmers and the government, and to require trust, to revive the trust, government must first repeal the law, must agree to legalization or lawful measure. To then the farmer, only then we can discuss about agriculture crisis, reform for the good or reform for the bad. We will discuss that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your, as usual, very enthusiastic and very informative, as well as
Just one more point to add. I had
Okay, sir, please.
that Bihar model has repeatedly been referred to. Bihar model has been referred to 2006. APMC has been abolished. But report after report, I can show you the report. I'm not taking time or economics, everybody knowing that. The National Council for Applied Economics Research reported increased volatility in the grain prices after 2006, which negatively affected the crop choices and decision of the farmers to adopt improved cultivation practices. It concluded that Bihar's repeal of APMC system and consequent increase in price volatility could be one of the reasons for low growth of agriculture in the state. And I have experiences in Punjab. Most of the workers from Bihar, they are now laborers in Punjab and Haryana. As a sad state of affairs, still Still, politicians, for their own reasons, to sell the country to the corporates, telling all lies, all political hypocrisy they are doing should be stopped immediately for the good of the nation, the good of the people. And Professor Bagchi, Subhendu Maji asked me one question: why Bengal is not so much indifferent or not responsive to the movement? Because only 70 lakhs farmers family in Bengal. Only we have a small holding of 0.77 hectare, and they're very poor. Unlike Punjab, you have a Punjab Green Revolution. All we have Red Frankel's book Green Revolution, Indira Gandhi's attempt. So they are rich farmers. They have more bargaining power. They have more fertile land. So, but here, coming corporate in Bengal and having a bargaining power with the marginalized farmer will not make any changes. Second, the government position. Kerala government, Chhattisgarh government, many government taken a position to oppose that. So government is taking care of the peasants' demand. So they are keeping mum. The government is there. So nothing will do. But from here, West Bengal, lot of peasant farmers join in that in the rally. Godi media did not report that.
Thank you, sir, for your lecture. Now I would like to brief, a very small brief or summary, you can say, for your enter points, whatever you have made now. The sir has done a beautiful initiation of his speech by saying that does the central law past the limit of structure, that is constitutional jurisdiction, and here this kind of structure, the surpassing of the structure is maybe the point of debate. Then he explained a kind of storytelling that, not a story, but information stating that there is a mysterious step taken by the government that from November 2018 to 19, government has a different stake, but after June 2020, government has a different stake, and three different laws they are imposed. The central law imposed 3 laws over this state, and there is different kinds of pressure they have exerted to the federal structure. Then sir explained that discussed about the life and livelihood of farmer, and he very categorically and very cautiously explained patriarchy of the opinion of the government, central government, as well as the corporatization of the entire farmer law. Then he also raised a very pertinent question on unintended consequences of law that leads to right to life and livelihood as well. Then sir very precisely discussed about MPS and MSPs regarding the support price, regarding the procurement of the particular product, and timely procurement. It's very important, timely procurement, where he tries to explain the background story of it, because if the time is not permeable, then maybe it leads to rotten product. It maybe go for the livestock rather than the food product of human population. So it leads to food and hunger as well. Then he also explained the concept of contract forming, and he beautifully explained why the Bihar model has failed, why the Bihar is a failed model as far the contract form is concerned, and other issues. He also dealt with my questions, especially of West Bengal, regarding the response to the recent movement, farmer movement. So as a whole, as the entire discourse is concerned over here, sir intended to study, or intended to say us to restore the federal structure in the state law over such kind of draconian 3 laws of central 3 laws. Thank you, sir. for being with us. I hope I very briefly mentioned all of your dimensions of your speech. Now, thank you again, sir, for your illuminating speech. And now I would like to free the screen for our moderator, Professor Subrata Bagchi, for the next Q&A and other academic discourses. Thank you, sir.
Well, I would like to request Shumon Hajra of Bangladesh Evening College to just take left or not. I must say that at the very outset of this session, that we have asked, at least we have raised 23 questions, main 23 questions, of which I felt at least 20 questions have been answered. I am still hopeful that by the end of this session, the other questions will also be answered. Only thing that has been left for us, anthropologists, to see how anthropologically we can see the farm laws and how the local culture is embedded. And of course, part of this issue has also been addressed, but we'll have to have a intense session on this, separate intense session on this. Or possibly we are going to organize such a session very soon on farm laws, how these farm laws can be called culturally inappropriate or maybe appropriate, who knows, and how these things are hurting the basic fabric, social cultural fabric of this of our country. So that's one thing. That's really one thing that I would like to discuss in the incoming days. But I would like to request Shumon Hajra to see whether any questions are there in the chat box, and then we can also take a few questions orally. Okay.
Okay, sir.
I would like to request Digonto Vishwas to just.
Professor Bagchi, do you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
I have taken only 15 minutes, so I want to take 1 more minute.
Okay, sure. Floor is yours.
Is that government in 2014, the government in power, the party in power, in 2014, that they have said that they are going to follow or implement the Swaminathan Committee. Despite the fact that in 2015, as you know, the Santakumar Committee talked of abolition. I'm not referring to that. But 2014, the government, the party in power, promised to us that they are going to follow the Swaminathan Committee, and accusing the opposition not following the Swaminathan Committee report. It's a long report. But what is the government now doing? It's one of the demand of the farmer. Government is not complying with the promises they made in the election manifesto 2014. What is the what that economists can say? Well, I am not competent, but still I must mention that MCP announced by the government is based on the A2 plus F1 plus 50% formula instead of C2 plus 50% formula. So this government did not even comply with the C2 plus 50% formula as recommended by Swaminathan Committee. They are taking another formula and saying the Swaminathan formula being implemented.
Thank you. Very well.
Entire mistrust and trust deposit. I have reports of our friend gone there from Sindhu border. They come back. Yes, tomorrow we have a dharna at Maulali. We are raising that issue. The entire trust deposit between the farmer and the government, that has to be restored.
Thank you. Thank you.